Wanda. Welcome to Card Readings. I'm Margaret. If you like, subscribe and put your thumbs up if you want. So, before I start in this act, I want to talk to you about my background. I had 30 years in disability. In food disability, I was running a class on advocacy, and that would relate to acts and standards and duty of care and policy procedures. I was quite passionate about it. I kind of helped start this one because I was quite passionate about it. And I like the idea that people know they have their rights, they know they can speak up on whatever they want. They can choose who will take them to the toilet, who can assist them in meals, that kind of stuff. I like that kind of stuff. Give them individuals, made them self-dependent, give them more self-esteem. I did like it. I liked it for that reason. To a point where it came to this, where I want to start talking about the whole COVID stuff, because people don't really know what the rights and stands are in this, and people just take it, they don't think about it, and yes, there's right things and wrong things about it, and it's where this comes into it. So yeah, but with that saying that, if you are, I am quite passionate about it, but if you feel you're over this whole COVID thing and you want another topic, right, it might be disability, it might be a school, could be shops, whatever. Most acts and standards go into all areas. So if you have another topic instead of COVID and you want to use that, I'm okay with it. Just put it down, I can put that into it. But I chose COVID. Another reason I chose COVID, it goes across the whole board in every country. Doesn't matter what country you go to, it goes across it, okay? It goes to schools, shops, community, whatever you can say, name it, it's there. Police, ambulance, media, whatever, it's there. And that's why I chose COVID. And I think people are taking offence of this COVID thing. That's why another reason I chose it. So saying that, I'm going to go into what I chose. The act of freedom and rights, choices in speech. I chose these because they're all together, because yes, you can have speech and freedom and you can do what you want, but you have to think about the outcome of it. You can have the right way and the wrong way. Just use a mask that happened this Saturday. It was 3 here in Australia, Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. I'm telling the majority of them were doing the right thing. They just go march and say, we want health freedom. That's a good choice, but there were some bad choices out there related to this. And you have to think about the outcome of that bad choice, whatever you chose, okay? Well, I'm going to give you 3 examples here. One, there's a police officer on a horse. A young guy went to harm the horse and the police officer, yeah? Yeah, you think about what the outcome would be for that person, and did that person think about that, okay? The other thing is, there was a police officer watching the crowd. He wasn't going, there wasn't anyone, just watching the crowd, and there's a person walking past, and so this person was at the back of this police officer. Another person came along and pushed this person towards the police officer. The police officer turned to see what's happening. He must have realised someone's pushed this person and turned back to the crowd. Think about the outcome of that. Good and bad. There's 2 ways of looking at that. Good and bad. If he reacted towards it and when he just left it, yeah. So there's an outcome of that. And if it was a bad thing, what will happen to that police officer and that person, the person that pushed the person into the police officer. Think about the outcome for that person, yeah? So that's a freedom of choice. You can do the right thing or the wrong thing. The other 2 thing is, there was a police officer standing, and people throwing, I'm assuming it's dirt at this police officer. He weren't doing anything, okay? yeah, think about the choices that the people chose in this. People have thrown things at buildings and other people. Think about the choice in that, yeah. So I thought I'd leave that one with you because that's a really interesting one. The other thing is, this is really interesting. And I'll start with the three truck drivers. There was three truck drivers came from Sydney to Melbourne. From what I heard, it might sound like I don't know how this happened, so don't ask me. Sound like he had COVID, right? And he came in, they came from Sydney to Melbourne and they passed the COVID on to people. This was the delivery guy. I don't know what type of delivery and what company they're on. Don't ask me about that. So that, yeah, you can see the outcome of that one. I've been told one got charged but not related to COVID. It was related to something else. What's related to COVID, he didn't wear a mask. That's right. So it was the $200 fine. So you can see the situation in that, right? I'm not going to say good or right, wrong, but you can see the choices that they made. And it's freedom of choice, right? Freedom of choice. But two, then this show, Big Brother VIP Australia. Now you all know what Big Brother is. I'm assuming you all know it because it's been across the world. And this is interesting. This back in, I would say 3 weeks ago. So Sydney had 3 weeks of lockdown. They're going into their 4th week. We just had 2 weeks of lockdown. I think it was 2 weeks. I could be wrong here. Okay, so you're in Sydney. Okay, and I think her name is Jennifer Hawkins. I think she's from London. I could be wrong. She's a nice open speaker. She talks about racism and all that. A lot of people don't like her. I could be wrong here, but I say she's a female Donald Trump. I could be wrong here. She's been in the media a lot too. She has her own radio show, I think it is. So she's quite well known, and that's what VIP is for Big Brother right now. It's have all these celebrities, alright. So a week into lockdown in Sydney, she came flying into Sydney to go on Big Brother VIP. Okay, she had, I don't know, at the stage probably a week in lockdown, because if you come into overseas or whatever, you have a week in lockdown, right? This is in a week in lockdown for Sydney, and she's on air with someone, Skype, I suppose you can call it. I could be wrong. Skyping to someone on some kind of network show. I don't know what it is. And it came across that she said, and she did say this, I heard it, and she says it herself. She said, someone must have said to her, what would you do if someone came to your door or something like that? And she goes, I'll undress myself, have no mask on, quickly go to the door and open it. But at this stage, I didn't realise you have to wait 30 seconds. Yeah, 30 seconds to open the door. Yeah, for a person to come in lockdown. So she says that. And she must have said other things, but she was flown back to her country town, right? I think it's London, I could be wrong here. So this was in a week lockdown, and it was, from what I kind of get, it might be 6 days before she went back home, alright? So that's okay. Her second week of lockdown here in Melbourne, 3rd week for Sydney, they get a guy, he's related to one of the royal families, Meghan. He's the brother of one of them who's related, married to Bill or Harry. So I don't follow royal family stuff, yeah. He came down to, I'm saying this is all in Sydney, because Big Brother Australia is in Sydney. When you fly into Australia, the first place you go to is Sydney, yeah. So he flies into Sydney. This is the 2nd week in lockdown for Sydney, our 1st week in Melbourne lockdown. He comes down for Big Brother VIP. The main reason why they brought these two people down for Big Brother VIP from overseas, one's from London, one from America, is it's good for the media, ratings, and the money. Yeah. So you can see the difference from the truck delivery to someone overseas coming down through lockdown. That's okay. Yeah, so that's a choice there. I think there's going to be a big thing about it, but I thought I'll share that with you because it's quite interesting. Yeah. Um, so that's interesting. I just thought I'll share that with you. So the other thing is, this didn't happen, but this is something you need to look at, right? So say if you're in aged care and you have a client, and the client goes, you know, I chose not to take a jab. I'm worried about it, but don't want to take it. I hadn't seen one of these, but one, I might not believe it, and two, I don't want to die from it. Because you hear that in the news on media, right? So you just say, no, don't want it. I know it's meant to be good, but I don't believe it. I don't want to die from it. Yeah. That's that person's choice. That's their freedom. They're choosing not to do it. And as a staff member, what you're going to do about it? If you're a CEO, what you're going to do with it? You're going to kick them out in the street? Never thought about that, did you? So I just want to share that with you because I think that's interesting what people need to think about. When you're making choices and people do have freedom to speech or just freedom of doing things, you have to think about it's the right choice or the wrong choice at the same time. And the person does have a choice. I mean, they can choose whatever they want, right? And this is what people have to understand out there. Another perfect example, and this hasn't happened, I'm going to make this one up. You're in a disability house and a client comes up to you. No, they'll be in a wheelchair, non verbal, but they communicate with you in another way. They might use complex or sign language, right? And they go to you and go, I want to go to the mass on Saturday. And you might go to them and say, do you know what this means? You know what COVID's all about? And they say to you, yeah, I know what it's all about. And explain it all to you. Then they say people die. Then they say you have to have a mask on. This is how you can catch COVID. This is what COVID is. They didn't know everything about it. Then you go to them because you're a bit concerned about the lorry. So as a staff member, you go to the person and say, you know, it could be quite dangerous. You could go into hospital already because it can be quite dangerous. And the person says, yeah, I know, but I still want to go to this mass. Okay. As a staff member, you don't have that choice for them. They made the choice. They know what they're doing. They have the understanding of it. They know they could maybe go into jail. I mean, into jail because they do understand this whole thing how it works. But at the same time, they might go into to hospital too because they might get hurt. So they understand all this, you know, as a person, as a client, they understand all this. Okay, you can't stop them to go to something like this. I mean, they understand it. They understand they have the right to do it, and they have choices. They understand all this, so you can't make them not go to it. But vice versa, if you're a staff member and you go, I know you get it, I know you understand it, and you have a choice, but I don't want to go. I'm worried about my safety, and I believe in COBRA. So they do believe in COBRA. As a staff member, you do have that choice, but you have a choice to helping this person to get to it with another staff member or whatever. But you can't stop that person, but that person can't make you go with them, yeah? And that's where it's different, yeah? So it's interesting. So you kind of, like I said, when you choose to do something, you can choose the right way or the wrong way. If a client comes to you that you have to come with me, you have to come with me, they're doing the wrong thing. Yeah, they can get in trouble, but at the same time, you can choose not to do it. And if you choose to tell them that they can't go, you're doing the wrong thing. So you have to think about these things when you do this whole choices in speech and freedom. You think about the right way or the wrong way. like these jobs, no jab, no jobs, right? If you do it enough to a point that no one believes that you get a jab, what you're gonna do? It's maybe as a boss at this job, what you're gonna do? You got no one coming to your job because everyone doesn't want to take a jab, yeah, that kind of thing. So when you think about the whole situations and choices and freedom, you have to think about the outcome of it, yeah. And that's why I did choose COVID, because this choices and freedom that goes right across the board in simple little thing, what apple do I choose? That's a choice you're making, yeah. It's simple stuff like that, and that's why I chose this. So I hope this is useful, because it is a kind of interesting thing. Like I said, where you had this police officer, someone push another person into this police officer. That could have been really wrong with that situation, and it is a choice that he made. But he made the right choice, yeah. And that's the thing that you have to be. If I go, let's say, and it didn't happen, but let's say if you had a person really annoying, they have a knife with it and this mask and stab someone with it, what do you think is going to happen with that person? Yes, they made a choice over it. Well, two, did this person knew what they were doing, but two, did they think about the outcome of it? It's a choice that they made. Did they think about the outcome of it? Yeah. So it's kind of interesting how you look at it, isn't it? Choices of freedom and speech. You can do the right thing or the wrong thing with it. I gave you a few samples there, but I'm hoping for you guys when you watch it. Yes, this is related to COBRA, but this is for anything in your work environment, in your shops, schools, train stations, whatever you want to do. Choices are good. That it is an act that you can make a good choice or a bad choice. Same with freedom and speech. Okay, so think about when you do these three things, you can do the right thing or the wrong thing. COBRA, co-worker, doing stuff on YouTube, whatever, you can do the right thing or the wrong thing. If you do the wrong thing, think about the outcome of it. Okay, so that's how I'm gonna leave it for you. Hope this is useful, and make yourself and think about next time you say, I have the right to do this. Think about, is this the right thing? If it's not the right thing, am I willing to have the outcome of the situation? To a point maybe had to go to jail over this. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that for you. Hope this is useful. Thumbs up if you like, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you another time for another YouTube channel. Bye.